Hey guys, and welcome to LoudsCast with TGN.TV, and this is Enhancing My Shaman Play, Episode 3. So let's get right into the action here, guys. I am in a pickup group in Zul'Gurub, and this is going to be another DPS rundown. This is going to be the final DPS rundown before I do the sort of guide, which is going to be done in two parts. The first part I'm going to cover rotation and talent tree, and in the second part I'm going to cover sort of stat priority, gems and enchants. Okay guys, the special thing about this video I'd like to announce right away is that I am actually rolling this heroic with a TGN subscriber and fan, and that is Kronog. He is on my server Draenor. He sent me a whisper and said that he wanted to help out with some of my videos. Said, okay, cool, awesome. So he is tanking this on his warrior as we go through this heroic. Another thing I'd like to sort of say is that I read all your comments on the last video, and someone suggested, and this comment had a lot of thumbs up, saying that your rotation is almost perfect, but you want a flame shock after you unleash elements. Therefore, you get the buff of your flame tongue, which means that your flame shock does a bit more damage. So I'm currently rolling with that rotation throughout this heroic. As ever, guys, my DPS meter recount is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and you can track that throughout. So what do I sort of think of the rotation that you suggested? Yeah, it works. I've got to admit, it does mean that I get a slight increase on DPS. I also get more sort of little sort of damage spikes, and you'll notice that throughout this video. The one thing I would say about it is it takes a bit of practice to getting used to, just because of the way the global cooldowns work on all your spells and abilities as Shaman. So it does take a bit of getting used to, but I tried it out on the training dummy for quite some time, and it is a better rotation, so thank you very much for that. You will definitely be getting a shout out for your suggestion in the guide. Okay guys, so I thought, you know, as ever, I like to test my DPS out in random heroics, because you've got to duck and weave and all that sort of good stuff throughout the heroic. I know that DPS is going to be a little bit off in places throughout this run, due to the blue cauldron buff that range tends to sort of get and then hit them with a spell for a DPS increase. I did try to get as many blue cauldrons as I could so I could up my DPS, but it, as you can see, it's not really working out, and they're hitting a bit quicker than I am. The other thing you'll notice throughout this video, guys, is I am trying to wrestle with this mage on DPS. So we're on to the second boss here, through the Zul'Gurub heroic, and I'm just going to have a quick look at the DPS meter throughout this to show you what I mean. So there we go, I'm top, and then go down a little bit, and bottoming out there. Had to take the raptor down, so yeah, it's one of those things that you always have as a melee DPS, is that whenever you have to go out of combat for one reason or another, you're going to see your DPS drop, because obviously you're relying on procs, you're relying on your white damage strikes and all that sort of good stuff, so it is a bit sporadic, but I'm trying to look at ways to try and sort of get that even and keep it as a sort of roundabout sort of number. I am currently running, guys, throughout this heroic in 352 item level gear, which has gone up 2 points since my last video. If you remember rightly, I was in 350 item level. I also had a question in my last video saying, what add-ons do you use? Now, I actually did a bit of a sort of basic add-on guide for TGN WoW, but basically I try to keep my UI as simplistic as possible. I've actually stopped using XPEL unit frames, and the reason for that, guys, is because it was starting to cause a little bit of lag in places. I don't know what's been going on, but yeah, it was starting to make my frame rate suffer when I was recording video footage and all that sort of stuff, so I'm stopped using that now, and I've moved down sort of default UI so I can see my character and whatever I am targeting. The other add-ons which I use are Recount, Omen, and Bartender, and that's pretty much it. That's all I really need as a sort of DPS class, I find. As for sort of specific sort of Shaman sort of add-ons, I'm going to give a bit of a testing, and I might also do a sort of short little video on that. So okay guys, we're on to this little mini boss here, and this was actually the boss which I did I think the highest DPS on throughout, and that is because, as you can see, I don't have to move at all really during this entire fighting council, which means that I get all my procs off and everything, so we're up to 15k there at the minute, 18k on that boss, which is just awesome. So that's some really hard hitting sort of DPS there for me, and that was the highest sort of number I managed to do throughout this heroic, and again that is because I did not have to move much during that encounter at all. Okay, so we're going to clear some trash out here, and we're going to move on. Another thing I just wanted to talk about, guys, is that yes, I will be doing Enhancement Shaman PvP, and that will be after the guide. And Kronog is actually going to be my arena partner for that. He's going to be Arms Warrior, and I will be Enhancement Shaman. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be a brilliant comp, but we're going to see what we can do, and I think it's going to be best, really, if we wait for the new sort of Season 2 kick-off, even though we're going to get absolutely annihilated in the first sort of few matches, but we'll see how it goes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so we're on to the cat boss nearly here. Hex there, bit of crowd control. I love having crowd control again, guys. I've got to admit, it's something I do miss on my warrior. Okay, I've got intimidate and shout, but when you're tanking, it's not really a great deal of use entirely. So that mob spinning away, nearly killed me there. The Death Knight, I believe, that's with us is down. So we're going to clear this mob out, and then we're going to move on to the boss. Like I said previously, guys, in my last couple of videos where I was running heroics, there's no real point in me doing a sort of guide for this heroics because there's tons of them out there. I've actually done a sort of Zolgrub guide, if you're wondering, and that is actually on my personal channel. In fact, I think that video was my first ever TGN Idol submission. Now, one of your guys' comments that I read from my last video said that I suggested that I should Storm Strike before I Lava Lash. I gave this a bit of a testing. Now, there might be a bit of confusion, and this might be why you're doing it. Your Lava Lash doesn't actually count as spell damage. It counts as weapon damage entirely. So your Storm Strike is not going to affect the damage on your Lava Lash. So what you want to do is you do want to Lava Lash first, and you want to sort of save your Storm Strike use your Storm Strike after your Flame Shock, at which point you'll have Maelstrom Weapon proc, which means that you can Lightning Bolt and then Earth Shock, so that works out a hell of a lot better. Remember, on AoE, so here we've got all these Panthers which we have to sort of kill, you want to be using your Fire Nova to spread that Flame Shock around to the rest of the mobs. And I was actually crapping my pants a bit here, guys, because I was the last DPS left on this boss. As you can see, the other two are kind of dead in the left-hand corner of the screen there. The mage was asking for combat res, and the druid's saying, oh, it's on cooldown, wait a few seconds, and I'm like, crap, we're going to wipe here. So I'm blowing all my cooldowns and everything. I'm trying to get this boss down, trying to get all those... sorry, I said tigers earlier, I actually meant panthers. So yeah, we're trying to get all those panthers down. All the panthers are down now. We're on to the final phase, and we're going to do this boss because another one of the DPS is back up. Okay, so like I said, I've been wrestling with this sort of mage on the DPS front here pretty much throughout this heroic. He's actually beating me at the minute in terms of DPS, and oh, there we go, bink, I've just topped him on the meter, which is always good and nice to see. So yeah, and I actually got a piece of loot there, 353 ring, which is going to replace one of my 346 rings, which is always good. My island didn't actually go up, but hey ho, never mind. So yeah, I want to bring you guys some raid coverage as well on my Enhancement Shaman. Definitely, I actually run, as I mentioned in my previous video, with Prophecy of Hellscream, and I'm part of the alt group on my Shaman in that guild. So I will definitely be bringing you some raid coverage of normal modes. Hopefully before the patch, I'm going to have cleared 12 of 12. I know I've got a lot of work to do in 2 weeks. I'm currently about 6 of 12, I think, on my Shaman. So yes, so that then I'll be able to do Firelands, and I'll be able to bring you guys some coverage of that. If not, I will bring you some coverage of Firelands, probably on my Warrior, I think. If no one else is going to do it on TGN, I know Rui might do it, TTB might do it, and that's cool. Possibly Tally on his Pally. So yeah, another thing I'd like to say, guys, in this video is welcome to all the new TGN directors. Wow, it's been pretty hectic on the channel I've seen over the past couple of weeks. Loads of new guys coming to the channel, which is awesome. I think it's a really good thing. It helps the channel grow. It helps our sort of community of directors grow as well. You know, I've talked to a couple of the new guys. I'm going to be chatting to a few more of them as well, and it's really nice to see. And that's probably the reason, guys, why I've not released a sort of video in the past sort of couple of weeks, as was letting them get their sort of introduction videos done and all that sort of good stuff, and letting you guys sort of get to know them. We've all been there, you know, me about a month and a half ago now. I was the new guy posting on the TGN WoW channel, and you guys have given me a pretty good response so far, I've got to say, so thank you very much for that. And the other reason, guys, is because I actually went away on holiday for a week. Yes, indeed, I went to France, if you were sort of wondering at all, and it was a great time, and it was awesome. And I hate this boss we're coming up to next. I think it's probably the hardest one in here. It's certainly the one that most sort of pickup groups do wipe on. I know this isn't a pickup group entirely, as I'm running with Kronog, who, by the way, guys, is a pretty awesome tank, I've got to say. He really knows his stuff, and he knew what he was doing throughout this sort of heroic. So here we go onto this boss now, the Cauldron boss, which I just don't like it much at all, this encounter. But anyway, here we go into this fight. So let's see what sort of numbers we can crunch out on the DPS meter. I'm not doing so well at the minute. Oh, there we go. Had a big sort of lava lash there, which put me up. I've gone back down again. Again, guys, this is a fight where I've got to move and all that sort of good stuff and not stand in the fire, which means it's going to affect my DPS a little bit. Mage's got the blue cauldron buff on the ad, so obviously his DPS has gone up. Run over to the green cauldron! Don't get the toxic fumes from the gas and die horribly. Which is one of the things a few people forget on this fight. Also, with the red cauldron, where everyone picks it up and then they wonder why they die, because they've got loads of ads on them that the tank just can't sort of take. Yeah, so not the greatest fight for me there, 13k, but that was because of my lack of getting the blue cauldron on the big ad. And we're going to run up now to the final boss, I believe, in Zul'Gurub, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there we go, up to last sort of couple of trash pulls here, and then we'll be on to the last boss. I know this video's been a bit sort of all over the place and everything, but you guys know that's the way I roll, that's the way I like to do things. You know, I'm going to be bringing you guys, for my first sort of PvP video in this series, I am going to be running a random battleground, which is going to have live commentary over the top of it. So as I'm playing it, I'll be doing the commentary, and that will be uploaded as soon as it is done. I'm a little bit scared, I've got to admit, guys, of doing PvP as an enhancement shaman. I've read up on some stuff on like spec and talents and glyphs and all that sort of stuff. But like I say, the only real way I can test it, especially as it's PvP, is by doing it. Learn by doing. That's my sort of motto that I use quite a lot. So yeah, that's going to be my first PvP video in this series. So on to the last bits of trash here, and I am doing quite good on the DPS on these. Again, I don't have to move on these mobs, so that's why. I know I've said that about 5 or 6 times now, probably getting bored of hearing that, so I won't say it again. I promise, I'll try not to. But it is a very sort of good point, and it is something you really sort of need to sort of know as an enhancement shaman, that if you stand still, you're going to do huge numbers. If you don't stand still, your numbers are going to drop a little bit. Not a great deal, but a tad. I was worried about this boss encounter, in fact, guys, because you may notice on the sort of right-hand sort of side of the screen that one of my weapons was yellow. I'm like, Christ, don't go red during this fight, don't go red during this fight, or I was going to have to punch you to death with my fist. So here we go, on to this boss now. It is Jindo, and I've got to say, guys, when this patch came out and everything, I hadn't watched the introduction video to Rise of the word I cannot say, but I recently sort of watched it. It was actually a really good sort of introduction video, and I suggest you sort of have a quick look and find that on YouTube, because it was pretty cool, especially when you just have Vol'jin walk off at the end going, basically sticking his middle finger up and going, nope, I serve the Horde. Yeah, so go check that out. It's on YouTube somewhere. Okay, so we're getting these chains down now. Pop my feral spirits thing. Guys may have noticed that I've got a hell of a lot better at that throughout this video. Whenever it's off cooldown, I'm trying to use that as much as possible. Bloodlust is on cooldown for this fight, unfortunately. It's not really all that useful, to be quite honest, because all you're doing is you're DPSing down the chains, then you're DPSing down the big ad when he's done that thing, the sort of jump. I can't remember exactly what the ability is called, never mind. Okay, on to, is this the last chain? I believe it, oh no, there's one more as well. So second chain here, gonna nuke this one down, and I'm slowing down the video a bit here, guys, and the reason for that is because I just wanted to sort of end this video by saying, if you've got any questions or anything like that, and you don't feel like posting it as a public comment, you can always go over to my personal YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/LoudsCast, and there will be a link in the description and at the end of this video. Also, guys, I am currently doing quite a lot of live streaming, and the link for that will again be in the description at the end of this video, and that is justin.tv/LoudsCast. Now, I'm doing quite a lot of StarCraft 2 on there at the minute, but I do plan on doing some World of Warcraft. I'm just sort of correcting a few sort of issues that I have using it at the minute. It's just a few technical issues with lag and that sort of thing. StarCraft 2 seems to work fine, but World of Warcraft I'm having a few technical issues which I'm trying to sort out at the minute. And there we go, third chain down, Zolgarub complete, it's all good. So thanks for watching, guys. As ever, you've been a fantastic audience. Don't forget to thumb up this video if you liked it, to comment and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye.